We all know that non-living things are immovable. They don't have the five senses that we do. They don't interact with us in ways other living beings do. What would your reaction be if your textbook or your favorite dress started talking to you someday? You would be shocked, wouldn't you? We will now listen to the story titled The Happy Prince, written by Oscar Wilde. Let us find out who the Happy Prince was. Once there lived a happy prince. After his death, his statue was erected on a pedestal. It was gilded all over with fine gold leaves. His eyes were made of 2 sapphires and a ruby was studded on his sword. One day, a swallow rested upon the pedestal on his way to Egypt. The other swallows had already moved forward, but he decided to stay back for the night and alighted on the pedestal. "I have a golden bedroom." Suddenly, the water droplets fell on the swallow. "What a curious thing! There is not a single cloud in the sky. The stars are quite clear and bright, and yet it is raining." The moment it thought of searching another spot, it realized that it was not raindrops, but tears that fell from the eyes of the statue. The bird was shocked. The statue said that he was grieved by the suffering of the people in the city.
When I was alive and had a human heart, I did not know what tears were, for I lived in the palace where sorrow is not allowed to enter. And now that I am dead, they have set me up here so high that I can see the ugliness and all the misery of my city. And though my heart is made of lead, yet I cannot choose but weep.
The statue requested the swallow to give the ruby from the hilt of his sword to the old seamstress who was embroidering the gown of a queen. The lady's son was suffering from cold and fever. The little swallow flew over a cathedral tower, the palace and the river, and placed the ruby near the lady. Once again, the statue requested the swallow to stay with him for another night. He asked the swallow to extract one of the sapphires from his eyes and give it to a poor playwright to buy firewood and finish writing his play. The swallow did what he requested. Then the swallow helped a poor little girl whose matches had fallen into the gutter. He plucked another sapphire from the statue to help the little girl. Now the prince was blind, as both his sapphires were gone. The swallow couldn't see the miserable condition of the statue, and so he decided to stay with him forever. Now that the prince was not able to see, the swallow began to find the poor and the needy. The prince's statue instructed the swallow to pluck his gold leaves and help the needy. Slowly, the statue became dull and grey. Due to the snowfall, the swallow died at the feet of the statue after an emotional adieu. "Goodbye, dear prince. Will you let me kiss your hand?"
I'm glad that you're going to Egypt at last, little swallow. You have stayed too long here.
"It is not to Egypt that I am going. I am going to the house of death. Death is the brother of sleep. Is he not?" The next day, the mayor of the city came across the statue while strolling.
"Dear me, how shabby the Happy Prince looks."
He ordered his counselors to pull down the statue and melt it in a furnace. To everyone's surprise, the broken leaden heart did not melt. The workmen threw the broken heart on a heap of dust where the dead swallow was lying.
Bring me the two most precious things in the city.
The angels brought him the leaden heart and the dead bird.
You have rightly chosen, for in my garden of paradise, this little bird shall sing forevermore, and in my city of gold, the happy prince shall praise me.
What have you learned from this heart-touching story? The statue and the swallow